What up, YouTubers? This is Evan for Grips.com coming at you with another video. Today I was in the mood to play a little Betfair, and I was in the mood to play a little higher than I did yesterday, so I'm going to be six-tabling 50 cent a dollar today. Try to make some bank, see how it goes. I've got a bunch of tables on the side just for game selection purposes. And we've got 5 so far, but anytime I can get on a better game and substitute for a worse game, like I just did right there, I'm going to be doing that so that we can do a session on the softest tables rather than battling it out with the regs pointlessly. So with overpair on table 2, obviously just going to bet for value, try to get called by a jack, a draw, any sort of floats that the guy wants to go with, and just start building that pot and taking control of the action. So we're going to be focusing on the heads-up display this session and how to use a HUD to your advantage. Making use of the information that's available, because it's some pretty powerful stuff to be having. On table 1 with the 9-10 suited, if juvie calls, I'm going to call as well. But facing an early position raise and a mid-position call that is sometimes going to be strong, I'm going to opt to pass on the hand. It's going to be tough to extract value out of position with a hand like that. It's not like a pocket pair where you just either smash the flop or you don't, and when you smash the flop you have a lot of equity. With the suited connectors, it's a lot more, okay, I flopped a draw, I can continue. Do I want to continue by check raising or by check calling? And man, I'm out of position. It's going to be really hard for me to get paid if I actually hit my hand, because it's going to be pretty obvious when a flush gets there or even a straight gets there against a good hand reader. In position, I would obviously be calling with that hand. In the same situation with the raise and call ahead, just because, you know, it's a lot easier to extract value and make some moves when you're in position. Table 1, not going to get out of line blind versus blind. And table 2 looks shitty, so we'll swap that shit out. And for anyone who plays it on game, since you can't get on wait lists, it's very important to just be watching the tables and having them open so that if a seat frees up, you can be the first one to grab it. This requires having like a lot of monitor space, so if you're playing on a laptop, you're kind of out of luck. If you have a little money to invest towards your poker career, I would definitely suggest either investing in a 30-inch monitor, because you can get like insane resolution on that and have like, you can be like sweating like 20, 30 tables at a time. Or I would suggest getting a dual setup. Like I use two 24-inch monitors, and for like my entire time playing in college, I was just using dual 20-inch monitors, which is plenty of space. I could comfortably get 6 tables on each monitor. So if you're looking for a brand, Samsung is always a good way to go when dealing with electronics, and Acer is what I was using for my monitors in school. Although a lot of people made fun of me saying that Acer was shitty for monitors. I don't know. I'm not a techie guy. So I have another table I want to get over. I'm just trying to decide which one's the worst. I mean, none of them except for table 5 are very good just yet, so we're definitely going to be able to improve on our game selection here. Ace is on table 1. Raise. Guess I'll take out table 6 since it's getting a little short-handed. And I think I have 2 fish on this new table I brought in. Moneyland 3 is definitely going to be a fish, having, 22 and change. And Pattison 77, the name looks kind of fishy, but we'll let the stats and the play speak for whether or not we're on point with that. Okay, Ace King suited. Definitely going to re-raise and really hope that this guy just wants to cram it in. Table 4, I'm going to make a light open with ace-9 suited because the mark in the game is in the big blind, and there are no aggressive players on the button. I think Piao's actually kind of nitty. So the only guy who's like somewhat likely to fuck with us is in the small blind, which is also like the least likely place for people to make moves on you. So it's a pretty ideal spot for opening light. Here on table 5, I was just checking the guy's small blind open percentage, and it's like 60. So I'm just going to hit him with a little light 3-bet there and let him know that our blind is not for free. Squeezed on table 4. Can't really continue, although that guy's 3-bet's massive. Maybe I should take another look at that. And we get 4-bet, but that's okay. Even when your 3-bets don't work, it's not like you just wasted the 9 big blinds or whatever amount you select. It sets us up so that if we get a real hand, we have a better chance of getting action. We've shown that we're capable of 3-bet folding before, so maybe we're going to 3-bet fold again, and he's not just going to be 4-betting us with value hands there. Alright, some better games. Definitely swap out that one. And table 2, we have one weak player, but he's on our direct left, which is the worst place to have the weak player. You'd ideally want to have a weak player on your right. So I'm going to take out table 2 and bring in a new one. And these games look pretty good. I'm content with these games. King 9 off on the button could raise. The big blind has a really high 3-bet percent though, 11. So not going to bother with it. Another cool trick I'll show you guys. This one's pretty dirty. It's kind of risky too. So let's say you have a seat on the table, but you have the worst seat on Francistown. So we're gonna try to make a move, and if someone's scoping out this table, it's not gonna go through, but we might be able to pull it off. So watch closely. I'm gonna leave the table, and then I'm gonna try to grab a better seat through the lobby. Ready? Gone. Boom, perfectly executed reseat. Now, I'll warn you guys, if you're in a game with a very big fish, and there's a good chance that someone else is watching the lobby trying to get on that table, odds are you're not going to get through with your reseat. As soon as you get up, someone's going to spot you and they're going to take your seat. So if you got a really good seat, if you're on a really good game, just keep it. You don't need to go for the nut position. It's when you have like a marginal seat, but you'd like to improve to have like nut position, you go for it. So bad news is some of our tables are breaking. Good news is we have lots of good ones to replace them with. 4-6 suited. If the first caller was a little deeper, I might opt to get hood there. But really just trying to get pocket pairs in those situations. That's really what you're looking for. They're just so easy to play. And check back with the ace of diamonds on table 5, since I can pick up the nut flush draw on the turn. And also, with the flush draw and it being a queen high board and a straight draw, there are quite a few hands we can get check raised by on this board. So I opted not to c-bet there. C-betting's obviously going to be fine too. It really depends what his range is composed of. If he's calling with all sorts of pocket pairs and all broadways, then your bet's going to get through a lot of the time. If, however, he's playing like a pretty tight range of like ace-king, ace-queen, king-queen, and the big pairs, I mean, there's only one overcard to his medium pair, so he's going to be calling a bet. And if he has a queen, he's connected with top pair, which we obviously don't ever expect anyone to fold in short-handed online no-limit Texas Hold'em. So that's the little reasoning behind that. Jack 10 suited, tempting hand, but it's this really tight player opening from under the gun. We're going to be out of position. It's just a really tough hand to make up ground with. And that's a situation where a lot of people are just like, well, I got Jack 10 suited, I got to see a flop. You don't ever have to see a flop. It's always up to you whether you want to see a flop or not. And I think it's just people love the Jack 10 suited, so they want to see as many flops as possible with Jack 10 suited, but see the flops in the right spots. Don't try to see them in every spot. That guy like auto raise. Interesting. Come on, Shazoo. We ran so bad with our aces last time. Let us run good one time. Have 2 kings, 2 queens, 2 jacks. I don't care. Have 2 cards of the same rank. Please. He's giving us the old slow roll fold. So tilting. Get your hopes up so much, and then maybe you think at the last second he's gonna call, and he's like, nah, bro, I'm just in the bathroom right now. Couldn't be bothered to play this hand. We're gonna get our label on, so that next time I play 50 cent a dollar, I'm gonna know who the regs are and who the fish are, so I don't have to waste time scanning the lobby. Alright, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Ace, ace, table 5. Let's go. And for those of you who are like on the tighter side, I know that you probably get a lot of heat from your cool, laggy friends who are like, dude, how are you going to make money playing 9 tables and only waiting for aces? They're on to something that if you're in like a tough competitive game, that style's not going to fly. But if you're game selecting well and doing a good job of getting all the best possible seats, then you can play really tight and still make a lot of money. So with the aces on table 5, I just opted to go with the check call mode. If I bet the flop, he can pay me off with a queen, but he might fold like his other pairs. So this way I can get value from not only his queens or his pairs, but also his air hands. And now I'm going to value bet the river, so if he has like any pocket pair forced through jacks, he can call, pay us off. If he's got a queen, he's probably going to raise. But I think he's betting most of his queens on the turn. It's a spot where the board was just so good for my hand, and there are so few cards that I have to worry about. Like there are no draws or anything, that I can afford to play my hand really slow and maybe let some free cards come off, because I'm still probably going to have 100% or near 100% equity. Alright, table 2, I'm going to semi-bluff with the pair, trips, and backdoor flush draw. He's not buying it. I'll take 1 card off. If he's check raising with a straight draw, I'm ahead. And if he's check raising with like a top pair type hand, then I have outs and implied odds. And I'm going to imagine on table 4 that our king is not good. But I let out on the flop to get value from king, well, not king 10, queen 10, jack 10, maybe queen 9, spades, pocket 10s, all that shit. But on that particular turn, like, we don't beat anything, so we're out. And we're going to squeeze with aces on table 6. And I have a good feeling that on this hand, we're going to get at least a little bit of action. Come on, Moneyland, you can't fold. You play 3/4 of your hands. How would you fold? Yeah, you can't fold. Then we're going to bet really small to induce him on the flop. How are you going to fold for $4? Wow, auto fold. He's folding to any bet. Right, ace queen under the gun. Rouse. And you guys will see that I folded Queen 9 suited the hand before on that table. That's another hand that people get tempted into raising. You really got to just like size up the table and predict what the dynamics are going to be. Like if you have an aggressive player who likes to 3-bet a lot on the button, you don't want to be opening light because you're going to get 3-bet a lot and there's nothing you can do. If, however, the loose players in the small blind, you have tight players behind, and you have like a fish in the big blind, you want to open as wide as you are comfortable opening with. What's going on here? Imagine the guy in the small blind is calling with a pretty tight range. So if he has like ace king, we have him. But otherwise, he has us. And for him to lead into 2 people, I'm actually going to give him credit. I'd be less likely to give him credit if he led out to me in a heads-up pot. But 3-way. Whatever. Check raise. Table 3. This board's actually fairly decent for my defending range from the big blind. And it's going to be hard for him to continue on a lot of turn cards if he doesn't have a massive lock hand. Good card for us. Although I probably would have preferred a brick, to be honest. Now we might get like tied to the hand. Whatever, bet turn for value. Bet river for value. Probably got to fold if we get raised because he has like 5s, 9s, or 10s every time if he's raising the river. But you can definitely call us with some worse hands here. Obviously ace 10 is also a possibility. Oh, what up, brah? You just got gripsed. Grapsed. See king 10? King 5. Ambitious call down. And it's really funny. That's why I was saying I wish that the turn was a brick, because then he's way more inclined to believe that I have a real hand. Whereas when the turn's like the perfect barrel card, he's going to be like, this guy doesn't have shit. Speaking of like not having shit, what's this guy doing? He just limp shoved blind versus blind. Take my $3, bro. It's all yours. Yeah, like I think on so many turns we're getting credit for our story there. But whatever, not on the ace. Okay, so tight player on the button, tight player on the small blind, fishy player in the big blind. Gonna go for an open on table 2. Not happy to get flatted in position. Which is why, like, I usually, other than the button, I play really tight. It just sucks getting called in position. Okay, table 1. I flopped an overpair. But the guy re-raised small and then just insta-bet the flop. I'm just going to give him credit here. Don't want to get it in with 2 outs. Interesting flop. Got a gutter, but that's it. Table 3, the small blind's on away, so I only had to get through 1 guy. I figure it's worth taking 1 shot. Now I got straight draw. But whatever he check called the flop with probably isn't check folding turn, so I'll just take my free card and bank off probably the second best hand. Damn, we would have rivered a fucking gutter? Shit. You definitely didn't have the best hand on that flop. Good thing we didn't c-bet. And you see, that's why we raised, though. Yeah, the button guy called with 9-10 suited. That's fine. He had a real hand. But the big blind called with Jack-7 suited. How's he going to make money playing the Jack-7 suited out of position? He's not. So, like, when you got those fishy players in the blinds, get in there with as many speculatives as possible. They're going to be starting the hand with a worse hand than you, almost no matter what you're raising. And they're just going to play so badly post-flop, you can extract so much value and capitalize on so many errors that they're making. Pocket kings. It's a decent hand. It's Jack-8 suited, but now we have the fishy player on the button, so if we get called by the fishy player, most likely one to call us. We're going to be playing the pot out of position. And when we're playing the pot out of position, we want a superior hand. You guys know all these rules by now. You don't need me to reiterate them. Overpair against the fish. Let's go. Isolate. Got some weird shit going on at one of the other tables. This guy donk bet. So I raised him, take control of the action, free card play, and he's just like, nah, I re-raise. I'll go for a 3. Alright, I'm done. Nothing to see here, folks. This hand's over. He bet. I fold. Another table's breaking. Good thing I found us a little 32-0 villain. Yeah, you get the minus sign. You earned it, buddy. You should be happy. Ooh, set. I'm gonna lead. So if he has an overpair, he's in an awkward position and feels the need to check raise us. But no action. It's also a board that he's not going to be c-betting all the time, so we don't really want it to get checked through. So here, flopped a piece, and take free card. Pretty good flop for ace-king. Don't see us folding. Just wondering if I check. Nah. Last time I was in this spot, I actually went for the check shove, which is a cool play because you get people to bet with tens and jacks, and then you shove it in their face. And at first I thought it was great because, I'm going to do that with my aces and kings as well to represent this draw. But if they bet with 9-10 on this flop or something, they're going to be committed to the pot. So you actually don't have fold equity with that play. So that's why instead I just bet. I'm just calling. Hopefully he has 10s or jacks and not 9s or 8s. But regardless, we're getting a pretty good price. So yeah, we're the favorite. 52%. No, not 32. Hondo P. Hell yeah. It's interesting though to know, because on that flop, it's not really the best board to be c-betting with a big pair, just because 9s and 8s got there, and there's a lot of draws you can get in and against. So a lot of people opt to check those flops with ace-king with the intention of just check folding. But if you're going to be check folding with your ace-kings, you have to have some hands in your range to check raise with to protect your checking range so that people can't just auto bet anytime you check with their entire range, just full well knowing that you're going to fold. So you got to have that contingency plan. All right, Jack 7 suey on the button. We'll pop it up. See, we're not a fish cake though. We're playing this hand in position with the lead, not out of position without the lead. Now it looks like we're on some reasonably good games now. We got a 65-28 guy, 56-0, 43-30, 29-0. There's still some. Oh, I got a 34-9 guy. Alright, yeah, I'll switch it 2 of the second best for the 2 best. For the remainder of the session, these are going to be our tables. We got some good ones. And all it took for that is at the start of my session, I just opened all the fucking games. And then I put them aside. And then I have my labels so I know who's a fish and who's a reg. And if a table's all regs, I'll just shut down that table. And I keep the ones open that have fish. And when I see a good opportunity to grab a seat, click like a motherfucker and get those seats. Because if you, that's the real beauty of this no wait list thing, is that you can get direct position on fish on all your tables and not have to worry about competing for seats against other people, trying to get on the wait list and hoping you got there first. You can just score. And then you have position on all the fish and you just chill there all day and just sit back, relax, collect, and laugh. So I flop a set on table 6, and I squeeze 2 kings on table bonus, hoping to get 4-bet, obviously. If this flop gets check 3, that's fine. It just means that I have the best hand. And just thinking if he'll call a check raise with ace queen, and I can't imagine that he would find a fold with ace queen. So I'm going to squeeze. And if I get it in against a flush, it's not the best, but we can just get there. And I could get it in against like a slow played ace king with king of diamonds, which I have the best hand against. Ace queen I have in really bad shape. Any sort of hand that has like 1 diamond in it is cool. Not anymore. Not cool. I'm actually going to keep betting though, because if he has ace queen and I check, he might try to bluff me off. And at this point, if he doesn't have the king of diamonds, he should fold. I don't know if he rips the king of diamonds or just calls with it. He probably just calls with it. So he can still have the king of diamonds sometimes, but he doesn't have it all the time. And on the times he doesn't have it, I should be winning this pot. Okay, well, I'm done. I took my shot. I don't imagine he's calling again with ace queen on the turn, so I can check fold my hand with full confidence that it is not good. These queens, pretty sweet. Okay. Kind of surprised he called the turn. That's okay. Knowing that, I just won't bother betting the turn again as a semi-bluff. I'll just check with the intention of folding or hoping that it goes check-check. And then I get a free pull at the river, which will often happen when someone has, like, they flopped a flush and then they get counterfeit on the turn. They still want to play their hand for showdown value. They don't want to turn it into a bluff. So odds are that turn's actually going to go check-check every time he doesn't have the nut flush, and you get a 4-to-1 shot to smash the river. And on table 2, I probably just have this guy oversetted. But if he is bluffing with a gut shot or overcards on the flop because he just thinks I'm taking a stab at the pot, then I want to give him a chance to continue with that bluff rather than re-raising the flop and forcing him out of the pot. At this point, I'm going to imagine if he's bluffing and I call, he's not going to keep bluffing on the river. And if he has a real hand, he's not folding. So let's just see those pocket sixes and give us that 98% equity. He's a nitty player and he's not aggressive. He doesn't check raise that much, so I really don't think he's bluffing. I guess maybe he has like jacks and doesn't know what else to do, but meh. Didn't really want an 8 or a 9 to come off, although okay, so I 3-bet and he cold called the 3-bet. Okay, that changes things. I thought it was just a single raise pot where he overcalled, where deuces and sixes are more likely. Knowing that he cold called the 3-bet, over pairs are more likely, and actually I probably would have been better off to call down there and, give him no reason to think that his jacks or queens aren't good. Let him think I have ace 10 or something. And Piao is a tight player, so even though I have top pair, top kicker, when he calls flop and then raises turn, especially small, he wants my action. I'm going to imagine he either has slow-played queens at the bare minimum. So I'll just bet fold that turn. I didn't want to check call though because I can get called by worse hands, and I maintain control of the action and get better information about my opponent's hand, so it's easier to make the right decision later. Whereas if I just go into check call mode, I'm just kind of like throwing on a blindfold, checking, and just clicking the call button, hoping he's bluffing and that he's going to bluff twice, rather than he's only going to bet 2 streets when he's value betting. Yeah. Man, another table's breaking? God dang. Flopped a gut shot, but I'm going to get fucked with on this board on table 6 all the time, so I'm just going to check. Stupid backwards blinds. So dumb. There, bro. Take it down. You win this round. And these pocket pairs from the blinds, I've been talking to my friends a lot about what the right play is with these. If you're going to defend them, you have to have a contingency plan for the times that you don't hit a set. You have to be willing to lead out and check raise on boards that are good for your range and bad for your opponent's range. If you don't have those sort of contingency plans, though, it's better to just fold and not deal with the tough situations and not really knowing what's going on. Once you're dealing with like tens and stuff, though, folding's kind of bad. Unless if the opener's like playing like 15-12 or something super nitty and they open from first position, like whatever, that's fine. You can fold those hands to them. Alright, I'm fucking squeezing on tape 4. So it's a spot where like pocket pair I'm calling every time, but suited connector I'd rather try to isolate the fish and play a re-raise pot with a hand that can flop good equity, rather than playing a hand out of position where if I'm going to win the pot I need to flop equity anyway, so I might as well set it up that I'm going to have a chance at winning a bigger pot the times that I do hit, and also be able to win the pot with the semi-bluff, like just a c-bet, on the times I don't even connect. So I just like call out of position, like what am I going to do, like lead, look like a retard, repping nothing? They're just not going to buy it. So it's way easier to make that a profitable spot by squeezing. So pocket pairs, multi-way action, call, suited connectors, if you feel like playing them, pop that shit up. Be selective though. If you're facing a raise under the gun from like a nit, you don't want to 3-bet that. Just because someone called doesn't make it any less likely that the opener has a real hand. But you know, if you got like a loose aggressive in the cutoff and the buttons flying and the small blinds flying, like fucking raise that shit. For sure. It's all about what the most likely action is going forward. If the most likely action is both guys fold, that's fantastic. If the most likely action is the reg folds and the fish calls, that's great. If the most likely action is the reg's going to 4-bet you and the fish is going to fold, that's bad. Same with if you're ever thinking about 4-betting. Is the guy likely to fold to your 4-bet? Or is he likely to 5-bet all in? Or is he the kind of guy who likes to flat call 4-bets? You need to look at these steps before you take your action, because you need to be prepared for the situation that's going to come. Playing it by ear, cool, but not when you're dealing with like complicated situations. It's better to do the hard work beforehand, so that putting everything into play is easier. It's more second nature, more automatic. And that's where practice helps. The more times you have been in situations, the more quickly your brain is going to identify what the best course of action is in a similar situation. The wider variety of situations that you get yourself involved in, the more prepared you're going to be for all situations. Yeah, what's this guy doing? D'ing it off with the flush draw. Single raise pot. Stacking off flush draw is really bad. C-bet guy check raises. And then bets the turn. Dude, that's terrible. I mean, honestly, Mr. Nut flush draw, you should probably just fold turn. Price wasn't that good. But if you like that you got your gut shot, call. But when someone check raises the flop in a single raise pot and then smashes the turn, like, they have a real hand. So this guy had the illusion of fold equity in his head, but in reality he had no fold equity. Ooh, queen, queen. It's a good hand. Make it 8. It. Even the lags are nits. So, table 1, I got an ace blocker. It's a button, small blind, big blind situation. Good spot to cold 4-bet. Wait a minute. Opener's extremely tight. 3-better, not too loose. And he's 3-betting a tight guy, so he's more likely to have it. If it was a loose guy opening and a loose guy 3-bet, now you got a good spot for a cold 4-bet. But tight guy opening, And like tightish guys free betting, no point. Wait for a better spot. And so, someone was asking me about how you identify when you're taking every spot, when you're not taking any spots. That's the kind of analysis you go through. You'd be like, okay, if I saw this on a quiz where it said button opens with range of 50%, small blind 3 bets with 15%, you are in big blind with ace X with tight image. And you'd be like, yeah, it's a good spot to 4 bet. But in game flow and in practice, by looking at the situation a little bit more, and that's the first time that situation has come up where that guy 3 bet and stuff, we can identify that it makes more sense to fold there, maybe. So that's what you do. And I might do something cool with that later. We'll see. This Richmond guy is a blaster. Okay, I'm just gonna run out a few more hands and then I'm gonna shut it down. Okay, so when the guy donks, I think like his most likely hand is a queen, but he's fishy and kind of passive, so I don't necessarily want to just get it in. He could have a set, he could have 2 pair. Those are both possible hands as well. Now based on his sizing, I'm liking my hand. So I'm going to go with a little Raz and go for some value on the river. If he still came out firing like really big, like full pot or something, I would just call again. And if he full potted the river, I might even fold. It would be a close spot. But at that point I liked my hand. We've also trapped him for 2 bets if he's like totally airballing. And the board's starting to get a little drawy, so I kind of like to protect my hand there. Alright, nut flush draw, c-bet. This dude opens a lot under the gun on table 1, and there's a fish and a nit in the blind, so it's a good spot for him to be opening light, which therefore makes it a good spot for us to 3-bet light. You want to raise me, eh? Well, since I was just giving that guy a hard time about just getting it in with the nut flush draw on a single raise pot, I am not going to do that, and I'm just going to call. And if the guy bets massive on the turn, I'll just have to fold. That's fine. But our 3-bet got through, and that was way more impressive. Decent price, 3-1. Can probably extract 20 out of him on the river if I hit. And there's a chance that the ace is good, and there's also a small chance that he's doing this with a smaller flush draw. However unlikely, if the possibility of it is anything more than 0, it still factors in to how profitable or unprofitable our decision is. At this point, I'm just done with the hand. See if we can get him to show for the fans. Yar? Oh, come on, show it. Nice hand, bro. Nice hand. So actually, I'm going to save that hand and see how close we were with our odds, because we know the ace was good now. So, alright, last orbit. I just got the bad news from my stomach that it is time to eat. And I'm going to do a video on this coming up soon. But the most important thing for your poker is your diet. You are what you eat. You think of your body as a machine. And you don't put diesel in the Mercedes-Benz. You put in that premium shit that costs way more than the other stuff, because a high-functioning machine requires high-functioning fuel. And as a human being, your food is your fuel. So I'll do a full presentation on it to give you guys advice on more specifics, but just know that if you're putting shit in, you're going to be functioning shittier and you're going to be putting shit out. If you're putting quality stuff into your body, you're going to be more able to put quality stuff in your brain, because your brain's going to be functioning on a higher level, and not like the Charlie Sheen higher level, but somewhat higher level. And yeah, that's when you get the best results. It's just one of the pieces of the operation, but I thought I'd mention it. Since usually we just talk about poker strategy, so I like to share my old man wisdom when I can too. Oh, you want to check raise? Well, I'm all in, because for him to check raise to this size, I think he's committed to the pot. So let's just get it in. If he has a king, I don't want a diamond to come off, even though we'll probably stack off anyway. And if he has a flush draw, whatever, put it in when you're behind rather than on the turn when I'm drawing it. Ace queen? What are you doing? Wow, that's atrocious. The check raise, fine. If he thinks I'm 3-betting a bunch of hands that don't connect with that flop to check raise there and get me to fold out all of my like air hands, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But to call off with a gut shot, this seems really bad. Worst case, best case for him, I'm having king queen or like a combo flush draw. It's just not good. But that's why we play. See, even the regs fuck it off sometimes. That's why we play, and that's gonna put our end session profit at like 250. So we didn't even play for an hour. We gripped like 2.5 buys. It's pretty fucking good. Okay, I just wanted to take a look at our equity on this hand. So I believe after he bet on the turn, there was like 40 in the middle. And we were calling 14. So where's the calculator? I don't have one. Okay, so we need 35% equity for it to be a break even. No, not that much. XR. God, I'm just all over the place right now. Yeah, that's what we need. 26% equity. Because even though we're calling 14, we can win that 14 back. So we need 26% equity. And because we were getting like almost 3 to 1. Not 2 to 1. And then if we poker stove that shit, we will see that ace 9 of hearts versus king jack off on a king 6 deuce board. Yeah, you don't need to beep at me. I'm done. Turn deuce. 25%. So there you go. We're like, it's pretty much a break-even call. And if we have any implied odds on the river, even if we can snag like a buck, that covers it. Now, if the ace weren't an out, now we only, whoa. Wrong shit. There we go. The ace weren't an out. Now we have 18% equity, so it's much farther from being a good call, and we would need him to be laying us a better price for it to be a call or have better implied odds. But given that we're out of position and we have a flush draw, which is the most obvious thing ever when it comes in, probably don't have those implied odds, and the correct play would be to check fold. Alright, and on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, so please leave me your comments on the video, and if you have any specific requests, just send me a private message. Also, we're going to be starting the show next month, and we're going to be taking applications. So anyone who is interested in being on the show, please send an email to evan@grips.com. Doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or if you're a seasoned vet and you've had coaching before. I want to get a wide sample of people on the show so we can cater to everyone's needs and benefits and make everyone just fucking awesome. So, this has been Evan for Grips.com. Now it's your turn. Go out there and get stacking.